This conference will now be recorded.
Before we begin, we must provide a disclaimer that the following information provided is not investment advice. Our methods, teachings, and content are for educational purposes only. All materials and lessons are protected assets or market making strategies, LLC. Any plagiarism or sharing of our content is strictly prohibited, and any violators are subject to applicable laws. With that being said, welcome everyone to the Advanced Trade Review. Today's November 14th. Hope you all had a lovely day and having a nice week. And looking forward to breaking down UAVS, which was from this morning. So I'm going to assume, Trevor, you are the one breaking it down today?
I can, yeah, but I'd rather have someone else go new and someone else new go, and
Yeah,
I can guide them.
sounds good to me.
Anyone
How
else can
about Shams want to have a go, or Derek, Bragg, someone new? David A's always going. Trevor wants to assist someone. So this is a good opportunity for you to improve. Who wants to take it on?
I'll go on this one.
Well done. Thank you, Shams. Okay, so before we start, who was in the morning meeting?
I was.
What did I say about UAVS in the morning meeting?
Said that it had pretty much built all morning.
No, I didn't say that. I didn't quite say built. That's too easy. Clearly, can't create the plays I create with just saying that. What did I say specifically about the way they were building?
I don't remember.
It was all shorter term.
Exactly. Thank you, Milan. It was all shorter term. The levels were participating, but more importantly, I said 341 was massive and shorter term. If you have a huge amount of prints that are also shorter term, what can that imply?
A quicker move.
That the move will happen today.
Well, that's why I just said shorter term. So we know that's going to happen. It's not a quicker move. Think about it. If you have a large set of shorter term prints, what can that imply about what the stock could do?
Exception build with a view to go much higher.
Okay, not exception build. You don't need to add that because that's completely not. There's no exception build. So not exception build, but
Just a normal build.
341, the size of short term being that large means somebody.
Range is higher.
Okay, let me complete, please. So when you see that, they clearly are saying that the range should be higher. So what is the number that I told you even here that we could be looking at?
5.
That's right. So again, write it down, make a note. When you see large shorter term prints, especially when this stock went from 160 to 340, already showing range within high volume, 341 sits right at the top, caps it off, and says there's still more to go. Now, the reality is, even with that, 341 being right below 350, who expects 350 to play a major part?
Not likely.
There we are. So with that information, Shams, you begin, and Trevor will be assisting you.
Sounds good.
Shams, anything that you see before we begin? Anything you want to point out?
Nothing in particular. The volume's very high for pre-market. About, I can't read. I think that's 460,000 a minute. So that's very high. The volume's nice and relatively consistent 341 is our standout position that we have right now. And other than that, I don't really have a game plan yet, so I'm kind of looking for something to work with on that.
All right, pause there.
Okay,
Pause.
why do you not have a game
Pause.
plan yet?
There you go. Good. There you go, Trevor.
Thanks, Trevor. Yeah, so I mean, I don't really have a game plan yet. I don't have a good reason for it, but I should obviously be doing that right now, hence why we're here. But those 341s, we could maybe like look for a little bit of a short-term build on those 341s. So just trying to plan out the possible options here. Maybe a 2 increment pullbacks. We're trading in 20-cent increments. So if we could come down to right above 3, get some alignment above 3, that would be a good place to look. Otherwise, if we just keep on going up, we would look for maybe an exceptional build strategy, but Doug said no, that we don't have an exceptional build here. Other than that, just like you said, we're expecting 350 to not get in the way. The scenario where it doesn't happen is where 350 maybe does print, then it would have to spend some time building. And we would obviously watch the volume while it's doing that to see if that aligns with those thoughts.
All right,
You have
so
anything?
you have some of a game plan. Would you like to say your variables, price target?
Yeah, so we'll add to the game plan. Thank you. So maybe let's plan for the above 3 trade. That'd be a potential. We would look to get in above 3 with.
Stop there. Stop there. You guys are well off track. Is there such thing as an above 3 game plan? Does that make sense?
A pullback to 3.
How ambiguous is that?
I can picture it. It's not as detailed as it could be and precise.
So you're questioning me as
Okay.
well. Okay. That's a first. Go on then, Trevor. You explain to me what you mean.
Right, so we have our 341 ask that's come in. Obviously, in pre-market, it's all building. We're only building off of available shares, right? We're not taking from retail yet. So when it comes to taking a trade in pre-market, the trade that I foresee here is pulling back, right, on a volume dip, because volume no longer sustains. Pulling back on a volume dip, we see volume come back in above 3.
Where did you see a volume dip coming?
We haven't
Look at
seen
the
it yet.
volume. Look at the volume. It's already in its third high phase of volume in its pre-market. Where are you looking for your volume dip?
Okay.
And a trade above 3. That's like speaking into the air. What do you plan a trade off?
What we see in front of us,
No, that's not even an answer. What do you plan a trade off?
the prints.
Thank you. Let's get specific. We're here in an advanced class. If it was beginners, I'd accept those answers. This is advanced. You guys have been doing this for 3 years with me. There's no way that I leave anything ambiguous when I'm speaking. It's specific. Why does it have to be specific?
The way that we think and the way we talk to
You're not supposed
ourselves
to think.
dictates how we trade.
The problem is, when you're not specific, you have to think. When you're specific, you don't have to think, because what do you do when you're specific? You input it into a process, into a formula. They're variables that stack up and give you a strategy, that give you the process that you're going to use in order to facilitate a price target. You can't do any of that if you don't input the correct information into your formula. Can you input above 3?
No.
No.
Can you input far greater print personality 341?
Yes.
Can we say 341 has a minimum? And look, you got 20-cent increments. What did 341 basically tell you is going to happen to those increments in open?
They're going to expand to 50 cents.
Yeah, there we go. Now we're on something. Now, If your print personality was 3 to 4 prints and you got 10 or 12 at 341, how many increments is that?
3.
So if we do 3 increments of 50 cents, where do we get to, Trevor?
3. Sorry, 401.
Well, no, 401 would be 391 would be 50 cents. 431 would be $1. 481 would be 3 increments.
So how come you're going to 50 cents if it's in 20 cents right now when it printed in 20 cents?
You just answered it for me, Trevor. Do you have the mind of a goldfish, mate?
Yeah.
You literally just answered it. I said to you, what do those 41s look like they're going to be trading between 20-cent increments? And you said, nope, in the open, they're going to go to 50 cents. And then you just said they're 20 cents.
Right, because it printed in 20 cents when we see it.
I
Okay,
know,
so
but you just
okay,
answered it. I said to you, 341 of that magnitude, do you think they're sitting here because they want to trade in 20-cent increments? Number 2, look at the range. This thing has moved from 160 to 340. Do you think it's going to sit there playing around between 20-cent increments?
no.
Look at the volume. Who's going to do that and have range for 20-cent increments?
No,
You
there's
know
not.
when it opens, it's going to be 50-cent increments most likely. That puts you right underneath 5. It's simple. That's how you plan a trade. Saying above 3, I see this, I see that. All you're doing is commentating. You're not planning anything. Now, everybody would love a pullback to 3, wouldn't they?
Oh yeah.
Mhm.
It's the easiest thing to say, but what's the problem with expecting and hoping for, sorry, wrong? Why can we not apply a high percentage to it coming all the way back to 3?
High consistent volume.
Thank you, David. They're showing you they're in the 3rd phase of high volume. If it goes into a 4th phase of high volume in the open, what's most likely it gonna do? Come down or go up first?
Go up.
And what would it do when it's going up?
Build.
Aha. Are we planning a trade now?
Yes.
There we go. Carry on.
All right.
$350 didn't get in the way on that, as we expected.
James, where are your limit orders?
Right now, honestly, I don't really know. That's a great question for me, David. Is where should I be? I guess I've struggled with my limit orders lately. What
Okay.
are you
Both
thinking?
of you, hold on. I'm seeing a lot of things here that are counterproductive to your progression. Should we be even talking about limit orders?
No, I don't
Not
think
yet.
there's a entry right here.
No.
First of all, what is it doing? Where is this stock? This thing has range from 160 to 340. It planted 341. Huge prints. It went above, didn't even go towards 50 and done nothing but build. And you're trying to get a trade in there. What's most likely going to happen to you if you try to get that?
Get shaken out.
You guys aren't looking at the strategy first. Understand the strategy. And then you guys got to start learning to create high percentage entries. You guys are so quick to look for how you're going to enter and how you're going to trade it when you don't even know what you're trading. I don't see anything here but them building a lot of shares. I'm not even thinking about that. I'm thinking if you're building that much up top, I'm going to be looking at a pullback entry. And my first pullback spot would be where?
3,
First pullback spot.
320.
Yeah, 320 and then 3. You guys are too quick. You're putting the cart before the horse. Keep going.
340. Still building.
Hmm. Volume is slightly fallen off, which aligns with our pullback and build right here.
Are you now confirmed that you see enough buying for 5 shams?
I would say so, yeah.
So what you should do, all of you, and I do this all the time. So when we said 341 and calculated it to go into 5, and then you saw ridiculous amounts of building around it, what I love to do is just validate a number as quickly as I can, so I don't have to think about it no more. So I know that that is the target. Does that make sense?
Hmm.
So when you see enough confirm what you already had expected to a high percentage, you get to that stage of saying validated. No more thinking needs to be done that this has the buying for 5, correct? Would you agree with that?
Yeah, yep.
So do that. So what happens is it makes your trading simpler because now you don't have to worry about all these aspects and variables. If they have already met their criteria, you can say it is validated buying for 5. We don't need to think about that no more. Now let's plan how it gets there. Make sense?
Yep.
There you go.
Yeah, I like that as opposed to not, or as opposed to trying to constantly be working on that takes a nice amount of out of the equation.
The goal always is what? What do I tell you? You want to simplify your trading as quickly as you can. And one of the ways to simplify, Shams, is when you know you've got confirmation of what you already thought, done. Stick it, box it, put it away. You don't need to think about it no more.
Hmm. That's definitely something I need to work on.
Why did this come down to 3?
You say when?
Why?
Why? They're building on their position at 341.
Yeah.
Lack of volume.
Well, it's going to be lack of volume if they're building on it, isn't it?
Oh, yeah, that's true.
How are you going to build downwards if you've got high volume? It would be pretty hard to do, wouldn't it?
Yeah.
Hmm.
So they have to lower the volume in order to bring it down to pull back and build. So exactly what they're doing. 341 was the cap of the build. Now they're just building on the way down. If they keep building on the way down, can it break 3?
It could.
Absolutely.
Yes. The answer is yes.
Thank you.
It is nice that it is holding 3 or seemingly held 3 without hitting 3, which is nice. There's some nice shorter term positions there. 30, what is that? I can't read. 307 and 310, 311.
I like that answer actually. Shorter term positions, but you do realize this is not shorter term positions in regards to shorter term towards target, but more shorter term that would take it back up again. You see what I'm saying? It's not build style. But what's the other problem that you have? The volume was always falling off.
Hmm.
So it's still in what situation right now?
Building.
That's it. Now look at the
Yeah.
time, Shams. What time is it?
Close to 9:30.
Do you think you can start planning a trade from this point onwards?
Yeah, yeah.
Where
So
would you be?
right now, I honestly don't know. Again,
That's okay.
y- yeah.
And what's the first thing that happened? You're still building, and what confirm it's still building?
3 hit on the ask.
Well done. So it could easily pop down to 280 just off those three, couldn't it?
Very easily, yeah.
All right. And now we know that 3 is a huge level. So if you were positioned at 322 and 285, would that work?
Yeah, yeah, I like those.
Okay. So that's where you're going to be positioned.
Would you do like 284 or 286 instead of 285 or?
Here's the reality. Who gives a shit? And I'll tell you why. At the end of the day, if it comes and breaks 3, you're not trying to get out at 285 anyway, are you?
No.
You're going to get out when you meant to get out. So all you do there is give yourself room in case an ugly bar comes in and your order doesn't get skipped.
Hmm.
So I could be at 290, 280, 285, but the reality is if you come in and 3 was meant to hold and selling comes with volume and breaks it, I'm getting out because guess what I can always do?
Re-enter.
Yeah, that's it.
I like those for short term, but the volume isn't aligning still, and we're right next to 930, so I don't want to take an entry this close to the open.
You better not never do that. Number 2 is, again, is there any need for you to speak on what the buying? Is the buying confirmed?
That's true. Buying's confirmed. Don't need
Stop
to
speaking
see.
on it.
Yeah.
Stop speaking on it. You know why? There's plenty of other things you got to look for. Because if everything is aligning 85%, which is I'm going to give you, I'm not going to say 90%, but 85% that this is going to go towards a near target of 4 where we need to see more information so that we can see that the strategy continues with a short-term build with 4 not getting in the way so that we can at least assure ourselves it's in the same phase of the strategy. So you want to know, what does the other 15% look like? Don't I always say that?
Hmm.
So what would the other 15% look like?
Definitely, I could see a lack of interest happening where we just get, volume just kind of dies off and we spend the day building the entire
Do
day.
you think that's going to happen, champs?
No.
Why would you present something that is probably a negative 900,000% chance of happening?
Yeah, that's
Shams,
a good point.
Shams, let me ask you something. Will you blink soon?
What was that?
I said, will you blink soon?
Yeah.
That's exactly the chance of you blinking is the same chance that this is going to have volume. How's that?
Yeah. Yeah.
When you guys want to add, I've said this to you guys plenty of time. When you speak out something that has no place being there, you actually gave it position. You gave it power. You gave it reason. And you have lowered your percentage as a trader just by doing that. Did you know that?
Yeah, I mean, I live it, so.
No, you're not living it. We're learning here, aren't we, Shams?
Yeah,
You're here,
that's true.
and you have took the time out, and you've been doing that for weeks now. You're coming on here, you're learning. No, what you have done is actively told yourself, I'm going to become a better trader. And you're taking the correct steps. And if you weren't here, I wouldn't be able to teach you this, would I?
No, not at
So
all.
you are making the right steps and you are doing the right thing. So let's not say that. Now, here's me helping you. First things first, make sure you understand this, Shams. Once you have validated your target, there's no more reason to talk about it. Once you have seen there's more than enough buying for the target, there's no more reason to talk about the buying. Those are 2 huge factors that are already in your favor. What's the third huge factor that's in your favor?
Volume.
Yeah. How does that make you feel about this trade so far?
Pretty good, actually.
See, you just changed the way you're speaking as well, by the way. Now, give me something that gives you 5% that's really nice right in front of you. Just came up right as the open came.
A print line.
Oof. Do they want you to win?
No.
Yes.
Yeah,
Chance.
sorry.
Everything is in your favor, and you're saying they don't want you to win.
Mhm.
Do you see how you're negating your own percentage again?
Yeah.
You've got the volume, you've got the buying, you've got the target, you've got the range. I'm sorry, you got a print line right above 3, and you don't think they want you to win? I think they want you to win, Shams. Now, my only concern is waning volume and massive, massive building on the waning volume. Does that usually say, boom, massive bar up? Or does it say we need to pull back a little bit more before we start moving above 3?
Probably a little bit more before we move above 3.
Well, the beauty is, Shams, we're going to know in a few seconds. Come on, press play. I'm going to take this over, and I'm going to teach you on this one, Shams.
Sounds good.
I want you to speak to me about the prints, about the money flow. What haven't
Right
you
now,
seen? What haven't you seen?
I haven't seen a standout position yet.
What's more important at this moment that you don't want to see with everything you know from pre-market?
Definitely don't want to see a really big dominant position at 3.
No, you're looking for
Yeah.
surprise
I don't,
buying. They've
yeah, I
done
don't want to see
the bottom.
selling.
Selling. But what
Yep.
type of selling do you not mind?
Short term.
What should this selling be used to do?
Just to build more.
Pull it back to build, correct?
Yep.
So is that the type of selling that you appreciate, or the selling that scares you?
That's the kind I like to see.
Okay, okay. Is it after that little sell to bring it down, acquiring?
Mm-hmm.
I even pointed out, I don't know why I did, 297. I know I pointed it. There we go. Look at the left.
Nice. Yep. Called it.
Yeah. So what do you think I am really looking for? Because I entered not at some point pretty soon actually. But what was I really looking for then? What would you be
I'd
looking
say just an entry just a trigger.
for? Well, what does that look like?
Uh, I don't know. I don't want to say the word take bar because take bars aren't triggers. But just a good bar that shows really good alignment on the buying in short term, even though.
No. Okay. Pause.
Yeah.
Someone pause. Somebody pause. Right. What is the substance within high volume that you have seen up to this point?
It's been mostly buying with selling to build.
See, look, selling, buying, and build. I'll ask you again. The selling was used for it to,
Build.
and the build prints was it 1 to 3, 1 to 2 print personality, or was it solid 4 to 5 print personality build?
It was 4 to 5.
So then, if a big volume bar came in, would you want to see massive build prints, or do you want to see relative prints to massive volume?
Relative prints to massive volume.
Okay. Where should this pull back to?
280.
Okay. Well, you seem like you have a plan, so let's see what happens. Press play.
Or just 297 again. Not that it. I'm gonna try to stop commenting on the buying.
Yeah, yeah, good. See, you're catching yourself. There you go.
Mhm.
There's no need to. It's there. We know it's there now. How much more buying do you want to see? You want to see enough for 105?
It's like 98, but yeah, now and then plus we're just right above 280 right here.
We're right above 280. What's been happening above 280?
Building
Okay.
above 280.
Would you take it here? Would you enter? When you called out a pullback to 280, but would you take it here?
Not yet. I
Why?
haven't seen the alignment in the buying.
You what? Alignment in the buying. You have to make. I don't quite understand that. What do you mean?
I haven't seen the
I mean, I've
positions
seen nothing but buying aligning.
Yeah, I haven't seen positions that are telling me now.
If it's still building on the way down, what could it do at 280?
Build more.
And do what? Break 280.
hmm
So what are you really looking for? What's the first thing we want to do? Control our. What's the first thing we do before we execute? We plan how to control our. If you guys,
Losses.
no, I don't even use that word.
Risk.
Risk. Come on, people. You guys aren't taking notes. I seem to be repeating this far too many times with all of you. You're not taking notes. If you're not taking notes, I don't know where you're trying to be as a trader. Honestly, it's too much repetition. If you guys write this down and you cement it in your head and go over it, these things are just going to be like muscle memory to you. Your trading is going to be so much more fun. So what were you looking for? Because it kind of just came there. And that was me that took it above that 3 a little bit. What do you think it was that we're looking for?
Volume.
Short-term buying by
Volume.
volume.
Trigger. You want it to move. You want it to get away. You want it to prove that 280 was the pullback spot. Is it doing what we planned for it to do?
Yes.
hmm
So what more do you not want? See, here's the difference. Pause it. What do you think is the difference between the way you lot speak and the way I spoke in this? What have I done every single moment I speak? What do I give a shit about and only give a shit about? And you
The
can keep
prince.
that on the recording.
The
No,
prince.
I know what the prints are. I've determined all my variables. I align my variables. I give them a home when they deserve one. And I move on because what is the whole point of trading? What are we looking to do? Plan a trade. If you want to commentate, have fun. You just don't get paid for it. That's the problem. You guys are so excited about commentating all the time that you actually don't plan a trade. I take the information, I add it to the basket, I place it and plug it where it deserves to be or it doesn't deserve to be. Once I've got enough to fill that bucket, I'm planning the trade. Because at the end of the day, I'm a trader, I want to trade, I want to make money. What do you lot want to do? Well, what do you want to do? Do you guys want to commentate or you come here to learn to trade so you can make money and a lot of it?
The trade.
Learn how to trade. Yeah. I see what you mean now, Doug. It's a organized thought process that you're going through the entire time. There's no breaking that
Exactly.
system.
See, my mind, Trevor, Shams, and all of you, is a running template. It's one template that data finds its way into. My template syncs with the data that effectively, as Trevor says, gives me an organized pattern. And as that organized pattern is pre-filled by data, I start to execute a game plan. Simple. Simple, simple, simple. How does that sound to you guys?
It's very easy.
simple.
So create a template, create a mind flow. So the same way you see a stock flowing into its existence, which what does that mean? Building, maturing, showing you the volume, increase of retail, whatever it may be, all of these things that are coming in, all they basically are is data that's given to you, and you decide if that data aligns with what you need to see to create a high percentage trade or not. What percentage of what we see now do you think? So let's just say the tape is running. What percentage of the tape do you think we honestly need to create a high percentage trade?
5%.
Do you think it's even that?
I didn't want to say
I'm going to
2.
say 0.000000000000005%. Why do I say that? Because how many seconds does it take for us to see the prints that we can trade off, and how many hours of tape happens in an open market?
Yeah. If you're talking about the whole day, yeah.
If you think about it, it's seconds of information that gives you a full trade. But for the seconds of information to create a full trade, look at the amount of work, the amount of participation that's required. Have you guys thought about it like that?
No, not to that degree, no.
I can, funny thing is here, Trevor, you know whose mind is going all crazy right now with that information?
David Torres.
He's going to come on any second and have something to
Just here, just living, thinking about it.
See? I could, when things like that come up, Torres is already, he's going to think about this tonight. Watch, like, okay. It's all it comes down to, gents, in the end of the day. So if you know that seconds create a trade within hours of information, how easy is it for you to get sucked into commentating? How easy is it for you to negate your trade? How easy is it?
It's so easy to get distracted. It's the first word I thought of, distraction.
Exactly. So like, imagine this. Think about you going, and you were meant to go, and you had to go to the airport, and all you had to do was spot this one person that your parents told you to go pick up. But there's thousands and thousands and thousands of people walking around this airport, and you decide that you love looking at all these people. How quickly are you going to find the person you're looking for?
You're not.
But if you found the person you're looking for, and that's the only person you cared to look for, does everything else going on really matter?
No.
How quickly are you going to go home, and how quickly are you going to get that person to their outcome, or to your house?
Very quickly. When you're looking for it.
That was it. When you're looking for what you came for to get to where you need to go. That's all trading is they've given you hours of non-stop data, but you only need to find what you need to find. Well, you could sit here and comment on all this shit all day long. And guess what? Every second will give you a reason to comment, which means every second they're trying to figure out how they can throw you off. That's all they're trying to do.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's something that might help other people.
Of course you
Um, so for, this is just me speaking out my experience and just kind of what helped me. And I think it comes down to finding a setup, like one that you kind of know, let's say basically, and you start seeing the interplay within the variables and how that kind of aligns with the strategy. And I'll give you like a starting point in terms of how to understand volume, like the phases and stuff, and then you can start applying that to different setups. I think with, previously what we've been taught was very black and white. this X happens and this should happen, but it's a market maker. They're essentially tasked with doing something, making money. So whatever parameters they have, they're showing us. So it's up to us to understand what's going on and thinking in probabilities and kind of just assessing that. And if you don't know, well, you're not at that level. But if you do, you can follow it far easier, thinking about it through the volume, through the prints, what's going on. And that's what's helped me a lot, like a lot more. So I think that might help some of you guys.
Yeah, and just to simplify what Millen's saying, is basically coordinate what needs to be coordinated. Leave the rest alone. So find what moves to a high percentage, the variables within that strategy, within that setup, and coordinate your trade off the things that matter. Don't speak on what doesn't. And once it's validated itself, stop speaking on it. I don't need to speak no more that this stock has a target of 5. There's no more to talk about for me. The only thing I care is, are you going there today? When? And how are we doing this? The other 15%, sorry, would be that it just did what? What could the other 15% be? Come on, let's look at the most obvious reason. What's the most obvious reason, gents?
Could be selling.
Why would it be selling? What have they done to this point?
Only
They're
bought.
building.
Only built.
You guys are getting so confused with those two words. Should we go over them? What's the difference between buying and building? Mentally. Technically, buying is buying, right? I want to buy shares, which means I want to acquire shares. What's the difference between I want to buy shares and I want to build a position?
Buying
One
is,
has intentions.
yeah, buying is generalized. Building has a purpose or
There we
intentions.
are. Because technically, if there's enough volume, Trevor, could I just buy enough shares for a quick short-term move within high volume and
Yes,
just
you,
go up 30 cents? Could I do that, Millen? Can I do that,
yes.
Shams?
Yeah,
Yeah.
they do it for a cent or less than a cent all the time.
Can I build a big position within that same type of bar?
No.
Absolutely.
No. No. Building has an intention. It has a purpose.
Oh, I see, I see.
More importantly, it requires its own phase. Yes or no?
Yeah.
Yes, it does.
Does buying require its own phase within the strategy?
Absolutely.
No. I said, does buying require its own phase within a strategy?
Oh, buying. Sorry, I thought you said building. Buying does not know.
Thank you. Does building require its own phase?
Yes,
Yes.
So what phase are we in here?
we're in the building phase.
Okay. So does selling make sense for a building phase?
It can.
No, it can't. Why do you say it can?
Are we talking about selling or shorting? Because, you know, they can use
Did
selling
we say
to
shorting?
build.
Did
We
we
did not say
say shorting?
No.
Are
said
you
selling.
you want to just add a bunch of words that are going to negate everything again? I'm trying to simplify it for you guys, so don't add things that doesn't apply. Is there anything here that said shorting?
No.
Even for a second?
No, not even for a second.
And what did the selling tell you it was used for?
To build.
To build.
So the only thing that could happen is it builds going down. It needs to build going down. They do not have enough of a position. And even then, I would still intentionally understand that within this type of strategy, if it was going to build a bit more going down, that would only be for a short period. And I'd expect it to have a go and show the interest that it wants to switch and transition into a phase that now goes into money time that moves towards targets for this build. So the only 15% that you really have here is it just wants to build all day. That's it. Because they did not build to then go short or build and then to sell it all off. Why can you not sell off on build?
Counterproductive.
Thank you. Why would you build a position to sell it off? Because why are we building a position? To do what?
To go higher.
What is it
Make
to
some
do?
money.
Make
Make some money.
Make fucking money. You guys are making me swear today. You build a position to get to a target so you can make money. Do you think it takes a lot of work and a lot of risk for these market makers to build formidable positions?
Oh yeah.
So do you think they do that just to say, guess what? I want to sell it all off and take a loss now?
No.
Use your common sense, guys. Use a bit of common sense. So what do you do with a build position if you don't have enough shares? What do you carry on doing?
Keep on building.
So if it carries on building, what do we do as traders to stay ahead of the build? What should we be doing right now if we figured it's going to keep building?
Keep on planning our trade for when they release their position.
Release, but what else can we do in the build phase? We can start calculating where it will pull back and build to. So if I was looking at this right now, where did the volume in pre-market, where did the volume dip and then come back in again? What was that number?
Looks like 250 at 8:30.
Brilliant. And before 250, what showed as a formidable number, which was a previous high too?
240 it looks like.
No.
280.
80.
260. Look at 260.
Well, yeah.
You don't just plan on what to get in. You plan. If you can plan a pullback, is there ever going to be a better entry?
No.
No.
Of course not. Because guess what happens when something like this triggers? It's going to move like 20, 30 cents. But if you're planning your pullbacks, how quickly are you away from your entry?
Within the minute.
Easily within a minute. Gives you so much comfort. Now, you got to be a very advanced trader to take a pullback trade of this kind. But the reality is, if this triggers, what's the chances, percentage-wise, that it was a fake or a trap in this particular instance?
10.
Very low, right?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. All right, play. So as it nears closer to this, wouldn't you expect at any moment, big volume and boom, just go? Yes or no?
Yep.
Now, big volume, relatively smaller print personality that aligns for the to go now. We don't want the big prints to keep building now. We want the to go now. Ballsy prints underneath 3. 3 doesn't get in the way. Buying aligns. Any other questions?
Almost perfect.
Did have a question, Doug.
Go on then.
So that entry would have been kind of like in the area of build. So that was just something that came to mind as I was watching this. So I was thinking like, would it be suitable to take an entry above 340?
No. Why not? Why is that absolutely not allowed?
Because it's the top.
Of
Too
course.
close to their.
Why would you want to be at the top? That's where they're definitely going to be looking to play games with you if they really want to.
Right. Okay.
And what's the one thing that you guys are not talking about? Look at the volume.
Mm-hmm.
How quickly can you build in great volume?
Very quickly,
Very
and that's
quickly.
what we've seen. 3, 310, 320, 330. some off levels in there as well.
Where were we placed? Where did we say, Shamsi, a long while ago? Where are we going to have our orders placed?
One at
285
320,
and
one at
322.
285.
Oh my word. Are you all called Shamsi now? Well, let's try this again. Shamsi, where did we say?
285 and 322.
Would you have been protected with those numbers?
Yes.
How's our trade looking right now?
Very nice.
What was hard about it? What was hard about this trade? You,
Mhm.
Ourselves. Yep.
not the trade. You were hard, not the trade. How easily did I speak on the trade compared to what you two were talking about?
Very easily.
If I spoke like you two, I'd be so confused and I would probably have took a loss. Plan the trade off of what matters. The only thing that matters is the person that you are following. Because the person you are following is the one creating everything you see. Nobody else matters. And right now you would have been in and you would have been nearly up $1. Not a bad way to start your morning at 9:37, 8 minutes in, is it?
No.
Now, what's our target?
5.
What did I tell you that we need to pay attention to in the interim?
4.
Why?
Make sure it doesn't get in the way.
Brilliant. We want to make sure that we're trading within the same phases, right?
Mm-hmm.
What's the problem right now? Or is there a problem? What did I tell you was going to happen? And it showed you it was going to happen in pre-market. We had 3 phases of what?
Volume.
So what was the obvious thing going to happen when retail gets a hold of this?
Gonna have a lot of volume.
Yeah, of course it is. If there's a lot of volume in
Yeah.
3 different phases with market makers, what do you think is going to happen with retail? It's going to be less?
Gonna be more.
No. Look at your left-hand bar. 9:38 UAVS. Lovely. What a clean trade. What more do we want? And look what UAVS tonight. You can't make this shit up. You really can't. Volume is at 3 million a minute. And what do you still not see?
No
Selling.
Selling.
What does that say about the potential of it to remain in the same phase?
Keeps it in contention.
If it's not selling and it keeps on buying, and if the selling that does come is just used to buy more, we're still going in the same direction, aren't we? We're still in money time.
Mm-hmm.
Yes or no?
Yes.
But what did I tell you about 4? Did I not say you've got to see how 4 plays within this trade?
Mm-hmm.
I know the buying is not for 4. I never told you that 4 was your target, did I? I cannot believe that all that buying was done for 4. Sorry, all that building was done for 4. And I'm not just talking about 341. How much building did we have after 341?
A lot.
And what number was it below? 350. So do you think they did all of that below 350 just to get to 4?
No.
Do we need to think or speak on anything more than that one understanding?
Nope.
No. Good enough for me. What are they doing under 4?
Building.
Yeah, they're actually building. How do you like 5 now, Shamsi?
Yeah, I mean it's still just as good.
It's still just as good. My word. How much convincing do you need to go for a walk? Can we go for a walk, Shamsi? Well, let's have a look. The weather says it could rain in 3 hours. But you say we need to go now. Do you understand what you're doing here? Why are you always looking for reasons to question it? Look for reasons to cement it. Because you can find a million reasons to question a trade. But if there's one reason that you can trust it to a high percentage, doesn't that make it a bit easier?
Mhm.
And this came and pulled back all the way to where? What level?
350.
What happened around 350 and below?
We built
So what's a great place to pull it back to and hold?
350.
Where did Doug add more shares?
350.
Is there anything hard about that, putting that together as a thought process?
No, that makes lots of sense.
Oh, look, that's amazing. What does that say? What does that say in the bottom left?
Perfect pullback entry.
Mhm.
If you guys are wondering, is that all he types or is that all he thinks? Yeah. Yep. The better you get, the less you need to say. You simplify. How many trades do you think I took today?
Just gonna guess one.
Yeah.
Pretty good one.
Did I need to take anything else?
No.
Is my shares worth going into another stock than this?
No.
No.
That's what you got to ask yourself when you guys are looking around at stocks. Is which stock deserves your shares? My attention, my shares, my time going to the high percentage stock, the one with all the volume, range, and clarity. Why bother even looking at anything else? Now, once I'm in a trade, I will point things out because guess what I can do that you can't yet?
Multiple stocks at once or trades at once.
I can only trade 2 max. I can't trade more than 2 stocks. So let me just make that clear. I'm a 2, and I don't want to. I'm happy with 2, but once I'm in a position like this, I'd be foolish. The market just opened 10 minutes ago, and I'm so far away from my entry. I'm so validated on my target. I can let this go. Carry on. I will watch you for what I need to see in the tape, but I can now start looking at other trades, at other stocks. But I'm not going to do that until I see this is far away from my entry. There's lots of buying above me, and I know my target is got range, which is under 5. What was our number, Trevor? What was
450.
our number?
491.
There we
Oh
are.
yeah.
Do you guys think that might be important instead of saying 5?
Yeah, it is.
Yes.
So where would you be placed? Just let's just say it's already at 460. All right. Where would you be placed? Your orders, that is.
470.
Yeah, exactly. 470. Absolutely. And why 470 and not 480 or 485, David?
Especially given your size, you need room to be able to time to
No,
get
no, no,
out.
no, 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 no. Let's just say basic. Let's say you got 1,000 shares. Forget me. 1,000 shares. Why would you need to be at 470 and not 485 or 480?
Just given how quickly things are moving.
Yeah, and look at the bars. It's just
Yeah.
40-cent
Yeah.
fucking bars.
Yep.
Again, just common sense. These bars are huge. I have to give it room. So much volume and range, you're gonna get big bars. Simple. Have you guys noticed that you get more overlapping bars when there's a lot more build going up than you do when there's not a lack of build and it's just go time? Or who hasn't thought about that?
Yeah, it's a lot more because there's more retail participating.
They're playing games and building shares. So if you're building, it's going to be overlapping bars, isn't it?
100%.
Who's actually looked at anything in the prints since we've understood where we're going?
Unless it's glaringly obvious, there really isn't a need.
There you go. That was the answer. That was the answer. Unless it's something that really sticks out, like a red dress or something that's completely out of print personality or out of the strategy we're seeing. I don't give a shit. I'm not looking at any of these 12s and 13s and 11s. You know why? I expect people to jump in and make some money, wouldn't you?
Mhm.
That's all that is. There's a bunch of little market makers or a bunch of little duds who are like, yeah, perfect time. I'm getting in to make some money. That's all it is. I don't even care about 420. Beautiful. You don't validate 5 for me. I've already validated 5. Do you think that's a big statement to make?
Gives confidence in understanding the market maker's plan.
But going back to what I just said, that those 420s were big. I didn't even comment on them because I don't need validation for my target. 420, thank you, but I know we're getting to 5. Now, if I had 20 prints, sorry, let's say 10 to 15 prints all around 480 and 490, what's that saying to me? So a bunch of build between 480 and let's say 495. What's that telling me?
Transition back to build and extension of the price target.
Beautiful. Beautiful. That's it. So simple. And that's it. What's the only thing that we got to pay attention to once we get to that type of stage, David?
Timing. So is this going to be a quick build in terms of volume?
There you go. What? Stop. You know how I told you, keep it simple.
Yep.
Only thing you got to make sure is that volume is still in play. That's all.
Yep.
That's it. Who would have managed their trade right now? And there's no right or wrong in this. Remember, I've told you
Definitely.
all, I'm never going to be mad at anybody who says, you know what, Doug, I didn't see 5. 4 was just a bit too much for me and the volume started dipping down, even though it's monstrous. Do you think I have any problem with you guys taking 50% off it?
No.
Not at our level of understanding.
Nah. No. Listen, at the end of the day, there is maximizing your trade. But if you got in above 3 and you're hitting 4, and you're like, I'd rather take some profits and lock it in, and then I'll use the other 50%, and that's what I'm going to trade to 5, that's fine. You know, at the end of the day, that's still a great trade. All I care is that you're reading it correctly. Now, if you're if you're risk averse a little bit and you're saying, yeah, guess what, Doug, to be honest, I know that you would have added, you would have done this and that, but to be honest, Doug, I'm not looking for all that. I had a really nice trade here. I'm going to take 50% off at 4. Then I'm going to manage my other 50% to 5. I am not mad at you for a second. God bless. You know why? Because you got a strategy for how you trade. And I can appreciate that. Make sense?
Yep, it does.
Don't stress yourselves out thinking. And how many times are you guys trading and thinking to yourself, shit, Doug wouldn't have got out here. Doug
Yeah.
would have.
Yeah, we can't trade like anyone else. Especially with,
Don't
yeah,
do that to yourselves.
can't trade
I'll
like
tell
you.
you why. I did that for years and years and years for my mentor. I only got this good when I realized I am not him. And that's the truth. So in the same respect, as long as you're trading correctly, you're reading and strategizing correctly, I'm not here to tell you how to manage your expectations for yourself. No, you do that as you wish. If you're happy locking in 50, even if you say to me, you know what, Doug, I'm more of a 75% then, my 25% can run. Fair enough. Go for it. I still think that's respectful. As long as you have understood what the trading means to you and you're consistent with that, then it's fine. Because here's what you can't do. You can't one day say, no, this is how I trade. I don't need to maximize. I'm not looking to make all of that. I just want some good trades. No, I can remain consistent. And when I get to my first level, I always take, especially $1 up. The way I trade is I'm taking 50% off. Now, if your next trade that's similar to this, you took 20% off, then the third trade you took 70% off, then the fourth trade you took 10% off, is that consistency?
No.
No, it's not consistency. Consistent traders win. Inconsistent traders lose. And we could say treading water, but in stocks, I'm sorry, I don't believe in there's such thing as treading water. You're either a winner or you're a loser. Because if you're treading water, what does that mean? That means that you're basically at even or at odds all the time. You win days, you lose days. You win days, you lose days. For me, if you're losing time, being average, you're losing. Do you want to tread water for 10 years as a trader? Who wants to
Got
do
that.
that?
No.
You might drown at that point.
You could have started a business and been extremely successful in 10 years. So, what is this to you? Is it a hobby? Is it fun? Is it a game? Or is it business? This is a business to me. Obviously, I love it, but it's still a business. I love this business, but it's still a business. I don't come here and toy around. I have expectations of what I want to do every day, week, month, year, and for the future. Do you lot?
100%.
Do you all know your numbers? Do you know your win percentage? And do you know what your net win and your net loss is?
I write mine down once a week.
Good. Well done, champs. And do you write notations about why it improved or why it didn't by looking back in your journals?
I don't, but I should. I'm gonna add that.
David Millen, just take some notes. I think we need to come up with a nice course on how to journal, how to create KPIs for your trading, and how to backtest and analyze why those numbers are getting better or worse. Please.
Noted.
Okay, we'll definitely put that together. I'm going to do a session for you guys on that. Because that's very important. At the end of the day, if you don't know your KPIs, then you really have no clue as to where your trading really is, do you? You've got to know your numbers. And the best way I tell you to know your numbers, don't do more than 3 trades a day. That's going to give you a nice data set. You're not in the stage that take everything you see. You're in the stage of high percentage setups at your level. So that should give you opportunity to have very clear journaling, very clear understanding, and that means that where you need to improve should be far more transparent. And guess what? If you're doing that, Millen would have a lot of questions for Tuesday, a lot of questions for Wednesday, right, Millen?
Right,
If
for
you're
sure.
not doing that and you're not taking your trading seriously, then that's when we come up empty on Wednesdays. That's your day to say, Doug, I went through my KPIs, I went through my journaling over the last week, and I keep finding that this one issue happens. Can you explain that to me? I explain it to you, you endorse it, you add it correctly to your trading. A week later, somehow miraculously, your numbers improve a little bit. Shocking, isn't it, how that can work? By asking me questions and me giving you the answer, you condense the time it takes for you to get to becoming a consistent trader. And that's what we're trying to do, aren't we? Look at this. Just look at this. I wasn't completely right, but what number did it hit?
470.
469.
Yeah. Well, it's not done yet, but the biggest problem that you had there was what? It went up and did what? Came right back down as if it touched the top. It wasn't the cleanest trade. It definitely wasn't the best looking trade. But does that matter?
Only the process matters.
Substance. The substance was key in this, wasn't it?
Yep.
And how many times have you guys seen a beautiful chart when the volume is this big? That's another indicator for you guys. When you've got huge volume, you're not gonna get real tight bars, are you?
No.
No, of course you're not. Go forward a bit, man. A lot more. Keep going. Stop, 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 stop. What was the high, gentlemen?
488.
Do you think it's important to understand how they build and what the targets are now?
Yep, the prints don't lie.
So if you targeted 5, like I told you earlier, don't do, could that have been danger for you?
For sure.
If you weren't placed at 470, like David A told you, would you ever find it hard to maximize on that position?
Yeah, almost certainly.
Definitely.
Exactly. That's why it's so key you understand what 41 meant and that 50 will most likely not be a problem, because if levels aren't used, then why would you expect it to hit levels every time? Correct?
Yep.
If levels aren't being used, then why would you expect it to hit levels every time?
It's not
You
in there.
can't
No.
compare. Have you ever heard this one, you guys? You can't compare yourself to a runner when you're not even in the race. You ever heard that? Anyone ever heard that?
No.
Yeah, something similar. Yeah.
Okay. It's the same thing, right? 41 never acted like 50. 40 or 91 never acted like 3. So why would you expect 4 and 5 to just suddenly play such a big role when they said to you that we're going to build, but we're not going to build right at that level? You plan off what you see, not off what you want. Because that, if you would have been looking for 5 and I was going to go into 5 and print at 5 and then I'll see what's next. Reality is you probably would have lost a good 30, 40 cents thinking like that. And when this is a trade, in this type of trade, does 30, 40 cents mean a lot?
It does, yeah.
Yeah. I mean, on 1,000 shares, that's $300. On 10,000 shares, that's $3,000. On 100,000 shares, that's $30,000 to $40,000. Just because you couldn't calculate, just because you couldn't calculate correctly of what you see. See, you can't just calculate and say, oh, he's going to go to 5. You got to calculate it off the prints that you see, the building that you see, the red dress. Does anybody think 41 was a red dress?
Big time.
Definitely.
I loved David A's answer even more. He confirmed it. He just said big time. He didn't even say, well, this, it could. No, he said big time. There's nothing more to say. Right, David?
That's it. That's it.
Anyways, good sesh. I went over a little bit. I still want to give you guys 5 more minutes if you have any questions, but I think we had a really good one here, didn't we?
That was
Sweet.
a great session. Thank you, Doug.
Nah, you don't need to thank me. It's my pleasure. I love teaching you lot. Maybe not Trevor so much, but I love teaching the rest of you.
I keep you on your toes.
Yeah, you do.